You want to hear about the Fender Champ? Now, I reckon the Fender Champ is the greatest amp ever made. I'm just going to come out and say it. The blackface through second blackface, so 64 through to 82 era of champs, are some of the best sounding amps I've ever heard. Now, I can't say I've heard every amp ever made. I would have to be a lot older than I am to be able to say that. But I've heard quite a few amps in my day, and I've heard nothing that comes close to the Champ. Now, they're a bit of a one-trick pony, but they give you many shades in that one trick. Now, what do I mean by that? I'll play a little bit and I'll show you. They're consistent across their sound. You're not going to be tweaking out a million different sounds out of this amp. You're going to get the Champ sound. Now, it doesn't help that I've set them the correct way, which is all the knobs all the way up, but otherwise they're one sound. As you saw, I got clean, I got dirty, but it's all one sound. So why do I reckon they're the best amps ever made? Well, it's a personal thing and a productivity in a way. Whenever I put a Champ into a mix, I barely touch it. Now this goes from blues rock stuff to synthwave stuff to folk stuff. I've had the luck of being able to insert the Champ into a lot of different genres. And the most work I've ever done is compression and maybe taming some of the high end or some of the weird mids that come from being mic'd in a particular room. And I think that goes for a lot of small amps, not just the Champ. So you listen to a lot of the early Zeppelin stuff or Derek and the Dominoes, etc. They're all small amps. Now it's a matter of debate as to which Champs were used in Derek and the Dominoes, but I reckon at least one of the guitars is a blackface or silverface Champ. I think there's photos of them in the studio with one of each, a tweed and a blackface, silverface. You listen to those sounds and they're phenomenal, like the Supros on Led Zeppelin 1. I, personal opinion here, I reckon early Zeppelin sounds better than later Zeppelin because the guitar sounds are just so alive. And I reckon that's because they're small amps. There's not a massive amount of bass from a massive 412 cab or a 212 cab like you would get in an AC30 or a JTM 45 or what have you. And they're not overwhelmingly bright and present because they're using smaller speakers that have a limited frequency range, so there's less bass, and of course when you're mixing and recording and producing, guitars don't have a lot of bass. It makes it easier to just stick a microphone, a nice microphone obviously, on a small amp and be done with it. And I've talked about how much I love them. Now the real question is, why do you own 4 of them? Christ. In a way it's collecting, because up until recently you could get them fairly cheap. So whenever I saw one pop up on the market, especially the Australian market, I would grab it up immediately, because they're rarer over here than they are in the US or Europe. And so I got my first one 5 years ago now, and it was a player's amp for sure. I changed the power transformer. It had a replaced speaker, a Weber ceramic I believe, which just sounded phenomenal. It's still the best sounding champ I have. I'll insert some footage of it. It's just over there. Oh, there it is. Hello buddy, you enjoying your time? What a great amp. Then I got these two behind me. So a Silverface from 76 and an 82 second run of the Blackface, which is really interesting because of course it's completely different from the original Blackface. And last year I picked up a 66 Vibro Champ, and this thing is just super clean. It even has the original cover for it, which is unbelievable. And so this is definitely a collector piece. It isn't a player grade like all my other champs are. They are quite possibly my favourite amp I've ever played, and I look forward to getting more of them over time. So thank you for watching, and I'll probably put some more of me playing over a track here. So